Hey there, I think we're ready to get going with this next session, Learn Like a YouTuber. It is 11 a.m., not 11 p.m. So we're going to get started right when we're supposed to and not at, like the middle of the night. I don't know about you all, but I'm not a very good late night person anymore. Like the older I get, the worse I get at it. So if it was at 11 p.m. and I had to try to keep like a train of thought on the tracks without getting derailed, it would not be very good. So let's just keep it now. What do you say? Instead of at 11 p.m. So in this session, we're going to be talking about, just like it said down there, just like it says now, learn like a YouTuber. We're going to have a lot of fun with this one. So this is a session where we're going to be talking about video activities that students can do and how we can create them to feel like some of their favorite stuff that they watch on YouTube. And there's all sorts of inspiration that we can get from this. So we're gonna have a lot of fun. You're gonna see some very practical examples, some stuff that you can use in class right away. So as in previous sessions, I love using the chat, love giving you opportunities to kind of check in and tell me what you're thinking, what you're using, that kind of thing. So if you see something here that you've had some practice with, please tell us about it in the chat. If this sparks some ideas that you could use that you've never actually used before, tell us about those in the chat too. Ask questions in the chat. Goof around with me and have some fun in the chat if you want to, like any of that stuff. Love using that to kind of like interact with you all. So here is our session one more time. Learn like a YouTuber, engaging video activities. And so let's start off with this. I want to tell you about these two links that you can use. The first one is to my slides. If you want to get access to those later, I'm putting the link in the chat right now. Itch.link/YouTuber will take you to these slides that you see on your screen. And then there's also the resources. I'm going to put that up here too. techlikeapirate.com. The resources page relates to my book, Tech Like a Pirate, which if you don't know anything about this whole pirate thing, maybe the name of it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's based off of my book, is based off of another book called Teach Like a Pirate. That's all about making class memorable. In the book, the author Dave Burgess says, don't just teach a lesson, create an experience. And so like, how can we make class memorable? How can we make, those learning experiences where students want to leave class and go tell other people about it because it was so cool. And so my follow-up book that I wrote to that, notice has the word tech instead of teach. And so Tech Like a Pirate is all about making that memorable learning with technology. And of course, video gives us great opportunities to be able to do that. And so I wanted to share this link with you just because there are a ton of ideas related to the stuff in the book for free that are on this website, techlikeapirate.com. I mean, I wrote the book and, if somebody wants to get the book, that's great. And in the book, you get this many ideas, of course, right? But on the website, you also get just about that many ideas for free. So if you want to go check it out, there's a whole section on video too. So if you want to dive deeper with any of the stuff we talk about in this session, that's the place that you want to go. Okay, so those are some things you can hang on to well after the session is over with if you want to go refer back to them later. Okay, question for you. YouTube, of course, is a behemoth. There's tons and tons and tons of content out there. They say that it's the second biggest search engine in the world behind Google. So, not even Yahoo, not even Bing, not even like any of that other stuff. YouTube is the number 2. So let me ask you, what do you watch on YouTube? I'm not asking like about your students or anything. I want to know about you. Like, what do you watch on YouTube? Or are there specific YouTubers that you watch that you like to watch? And like, what do you watch on that? Are there specific channels that you come back to? Are there specific types of videos that you watch? Like any of that stuff. Tell me about any of that stuff related to YouTube when it comes to you. So while you're typing, I will tell you real quickly that in my household, there are a few specific YouTube channels that we are big fans of. One of them is called Dude Perfect. I don't know if anybody watches Dude Perfect or not. It's this group of 5 guys who do sports trick shots. And so they have trick shot videos, and then they've branched out and they've done like stereotypes videos, which are really funny. They just do a wide variety of things, and it's real clean. And anyway, our family really likes those. And then there's another one that we watch a lot of. It's a guy named Mark Rober. Mark Rober used to work at NASA. And after leaving NASA, he started his YouTube channel where he does all of these like crazy science experiments, or he shows you the secrets behind things that only you can figure out if you know the science and like all of that stuff. So he's using a lot of the science and engineering stuff he used to use at NASA to do really cool, fun things. Like he made a swimming pool full of Jell-O once. And it was actually kind of a scientific feat that he was able to do it. He dug a big hole in his backyard, and he calculated it down, and he realized for the air temperature and the ground temperature to be just right, he had about a 3 or 4 week window in the year where he could try that experiment. And if he didn't do it during that time, it would never work. So it was really, really fascinating. So Amy knows what I'm talking about. She's like, the squirrel maze. That's one of my favorite Mark Rober videos. He makes this big crazy maze for squirrels to see if they can make it through there. And oh man, it's funny. By the way, there's like 3 or 4 squirrels that go through the maze on a regular basis, and one of them is named Fat Gus, which they decide fat is spelled P-H-A-T. I've learned later that if you go to Mark Rober's website, you can buy Fat Gus t-shirts. So there you go, Amy. If you've seen the squirrel maze and you know what I'm talking about, you could get a Fat Gus t-shirt if you wanted to. Kelly says, good mythical morning. The youth pastor at my church is an enormous Good Mythical Morning fan. He absolutely loves it. She says they're from North Carolina. Good debate videos for the classroom. That's cool. That's a great example. Amy says Amoeba Sisters, how-to videos. Mark Rober, love his channel too. Yep, absolutely. He's a good one. Cami knows about Dude Perfect. That's so cool. Very good. Yeah, that's a big favorite in our classroom. Cami says funny cat videos. Hey, can't go wrong with funny cat videos. Soccer game highlights, practice ideas for soccer and fitness, church online, water life due to COVID. Yeah, we've done a lot of online church as well too. And then Kelly says booktube channels and minimalism channels. Interesting. Very cool. Okay, so lots of good stuff. Oh, and OK Go. Yeah, that's a good one too. That's a band that has all of these really interesting like slow motion, science-y, STEM type music videos. It's really pretty cool. So yeah, Kelly says Fat Gus is now confirmed a girl and was pregnant. I didn't realize that. That's hilarious though. Oh my goodness. Okay. If you all don't know what I'm talking about, you want to go search for the Mark Rober squirrel maze video. It's really, really good. And then Cami says about that channel, she says, you'd like the professor, basketball player trickster who challenges professionals or other people who think they can beat him. I think I've heard of the professor. That's a good one too. I feel like we could go on and on and on talking about these YouTube channels. This has been a lot of fun already. And so what I've found, I don't know about you, but I found that YouTube really is a microcosm of what's popular. There are hundreds of hours of video uploaded to YouTube every minute. Do the math on that one. Every minute they upload hundreds of hours of videos. So it's like impossible to watch everything on it. And the stuff that gets popular shows what is popular in the moment. And so it makes me wonder, what can we learn from YouTube to make our video activities more engaging? Because we have all of these video tools that we can use with students. I'm going to list off a few of them. Tell me in the chat, like which ones of these you use or if there are other ones. For instance, I'm a huge fan of Flipgrid. In fact, I have an enormous Flipgrid magnet, like oh, that's the wrong side of it. There's my enormous Flipgrid magnet that's like right near my desk. Flipgrid lets your students respond to a question with a short video clip. And the camera that you use has all of these effects. It almost feels a little bit like TikTok. And so it's a lot of fun. I love Screencastify also, which is a tool that lets you record your screen. And it'll also record your voice if you want to. It'll even put a little webcam of you in the corner as you record your screen. There's those. You've got Doink Green Screen, which is a neat iPad, iPhone app where if you have a green background, you can change the green background to an image or a video or something. So it makes students look like they're different places. Anyway, those are some of my favorite video tools. If you've got some that you use that you like, then definitely drop those in the comments. Curious to see what all you like to use. Oh, look at that. I had a slide. I didn't even realize that. Shame on me for that. I'm like, oh, here, let me list some of those tools. And then I've got a whole slide for it right next. Those are some of my favorites. There's Flipgrid. There's Screencastify. We talked about doing green screen. There's a handful of other ones here. Even if you've got Canvas, if you use Canvas, there's the ability to record a video as your response to the assignment. That works too. So if you don't want to go out and get a different, if you don't want to go out and get a different tool and you already use Canvas, then have students respond with a video clip. And I mean, that can work just as easily. Kelly says she's used Flipgrid before and Loom. Loom is another one of those screen recording tools, kind of like Screencastify. And that's a really good one too. So good choices there. So how do we use them? That's the big question I always want to know is like, I don't want to know what all of the buttons do in the tools. I want to know how they fit into a classroom, you know? And I think if we let popular genres of videos be our guides, we can go a long way. Because if you look at what gets popular on YouTube, there are certain types of videos, it seems like. You know, maybe one video will go like super viral, but then there's also certain types of videos that get a lot of views. And so if we look at some of those types, I think that can be really big. And thankfully for you, I've done some of the research for you, and I've already looked at a bunch of these and have kind of thought of how you can cross them over into the classroom. So we're going to talk about a few of those. Here's one of my favorites. I actually was sharing this with the digital learning coaches not too long ago, and I wanted to share it with you all here too. It's the unboxing video. So let me ask you about unboxing videos real quick. In the comments, I'm curious to see, have you ever watched an unboxing video on YouTube? And if so, what were they unboxing? So while you're typing, let me tell you what an unboxing video is if you've never watched one. An unboxing video is where a YouTuber gets something in a box. In the mail, maybe, like a company sends it to them or they order it off of Amazon. Subscription boxes, sometimes they do unboxing videos for. Sometimes they go to the store and buy something. And then they, what they do is they turn on their camera and they just start opening the box, taking things out of it. And when they do, as they do that, they kind of like comment on the things that are coming out of the box. And they show it to you on the screen and everything. I remember watching that for the first time and I thought, this is the dumbest thing. I don't believe that people actually do this. But then I couldn't take my eyes off of it. Like I just kept watching it. And they are wildly popular. I'll tell you this, some of the most popular unboxing videos are toys. You have YouTubers that are like 7, 8 years old, 6 years old, something like that, that unbox toys and play with them. And kids watch them on YouTube play with those toys. And they end up making like tons of money. They're YouTube millionaires that are less than 10 years old because they have YouTube channels like that. It's crazy. Amy says, my daughter used to make unboxing videos of all of the JoJo products that she got. And then my son made them about army action toys and dinosaurs. That's so cool. They were making unboxing videos like that. That's awesome. Even when they were little. I love it. Kelly says, mostly tech products. Yeah, there's a big market for those too, especially cell phones. especially when there's a new cell phone out and people want to see what does the packaging look like? What does the product look like? How does it work? Like they'll do unboxing videos for that. I don't know about you, but I have looked at these unboxing videos before and I've thought these would make kind of a cool formative assessment activity. I really think that they could, because they give lots of opportunities for students to demonstrate understanding, to show what they know, you know? So instead of just like setting up a Flipgrid topic and telling students, hey, here's the question, record your answer to it. Like, yeah, we could do that. You know, I could take a question out of the textbook and have students record a video response to it instead of writing it on a piece of paper. But what if we take that to the next level and we make it an experience? What if we make it something memorable? What if we make it something out of the ordinary, you know? And I think these unboxing activities could totally work like that. And so to give you an idea of how this works and how it looks, I have a box full of stuff. And so I'm going to pretend that I'm doing an unboxing video for you. And as I do this, kind of just keep in the back of your mind, how could this fit in a classroom? Like, how could a student do a video like this and show what they've learned through it in kind of a creative way, okay? So I'm going to pretend like I'm recording this video, and then when we're done, we'll kind of like deconstruct it and see how we could use it, okay? Okay, here we go. Oh my goodness. I just got this box in the mail. You're never going to believe this. This is a box to me from me in the past. Like, I sent this box to myself in the 80s and it just arrived. It's almost kind of like a time capsule of sorts. You know, it's the craziest thing. And see, there's the mailing label right there. And it shows that it was from the 80s. So I'm fascinated to see what's inside of this thing. So let's open it up, okay? Oh my goodness, there's some great stuff inside of this. But right up at the top, the thing that I noticed first, of course, was there's a letter on top of it, which is addressed to me. It's going to be really interesting to see like what I had to say to myself. This could be really good to provide context for the box, you know? Okay, so let's open this up, and it says, Dear Matt, here is a box from your past that will help you like understand where you came from and remember your roots. Okay. All right. Very good. So let's see what's inside of this thing. Oh man. Do you remember when we used to not save files to the cloud and we used to save them to these instead? Do you remember these discs? Or the even bigger ones that were like really floppy, the 5 1/4 floppy ones. But this is a 3 1/2 inch one with the media inside of it like that. And if you had a really big file, you had to chain it over like multiple discs. Do you remember this? Yeah, so it goes to show you how far we've come in our file management, right? How about this? Oh man, do you remember when we used to not listen to music on our phones? And we used to listen to music on these instead. Radios with an antenna and everything. Now, see, the thing I remember about this was that if you wanted to get the big city radio stations that were far away, you had to use the tuning knob. And I had to like adjust that tuning knob down to like the 0.5 millimeter. Like you had to be so precise to get some of those radio stations to come in. Obviously, these days, you know, we got Pandora and Spotify and everything. But hey, radios still work, right? I mean, we still listen to the radios. How about this one? Do you remember when we used to not take pictures on our phones, but we used to take pictures with cameras? Do you remember these? You know, we had all of these little adjustments that we could put on the front of it, and they actually shot real film. And you see this little thing in the back here? This is just like a little panel. This doesn't actually show what the picture looks like. And if you wanted to see what the picture looked like, you had to take a picture and then get it, actually get it developed before you found out what it actually looked like. Remember all of this? I got one more in here. Check this out. How about when our smartphones We're not so smart. Do you remember this? There's another antenna right there. Do you remember trying to text on these things? Like, texting on one of those numeric keypads, the T9 texting. I don't know if you got good at this, but the ones that were like really, really good at it, I mean, their thumbs would just go so fast. And it was kind of a pain too, because for instance, if you wanted to put a Z into your message, you had to hit that 9 key like 4 times, boom, 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 to put a Z in. I mean, I was blown away by people who could text really fast like that. Obviously, things have come a long way, and now we just type right onto the screens instead of having to use the numeric pad. And that's it. That's the end of my box right there. So let me ask you a question as we wrap this video up. If you were going to send a box from the 80s or have a box that represented the 80s, what would it have in it? What else could you put in there? So drop that in the comments, okay? And then see, if I was the YouTuber, I would hit stop the recording right there. It would be at the end. By the way, I am actually really curious to see what you would put in a box from the 80s. Like, what else could I have put in a box? Drop that in the comments and let me know if you've got any other ideas on that, because there's probably a bunch of things that we could have put in there. So when we take a look at that activity, I don't know about you, I'm going to be watching those comments to see if you all have anything else that we could put in there from the 80s. But as you kind of look through that activity, I don't know about learning all over that thing. I mean, those videos are, to me, a pretty clear way that students can creatively show us what they've learned. So, I mean, think about like all of the different variables. You got who's opening the box. In this case, it was me, but I could play a character in history, or I could play a character in a book. We've also got the variable of who's sending the box. That could be somebody from history. It could be somebody from pop culture, or from like in the news. It could be a historical scientist or a mathematician talking about the stuff that you're learning in class. If you think about the video, there was a letter in it, right? And so if you open up the letter, see that if the student has the sender write a letter, that's a great way to provide context and show, like, what is the box about? What are the circumstances around it that you need to know that you might not say when you're just pulling the things out of the box? Any of that stuff. Then, of course, you've got all of the items in the box. And, of course, every time you pull one of those out, you talk about its significance. It's never to be able to show what you learned, too. Lots of cool ways that you could use this. I got a couple of suggestions for what else could go in that. Kimberly says a Rubik's Cube, which I think is I'm having a hard time getting that. There it is. Yeah, that one definitely fits. That's a good one. And then Cami says VHS and probably a Care Bear. Yeah, definitely a Care Bear. I think that's a good suggestion on that one. So let me ask you this. When it comes to the unboxing video, what are some ways that we could potentially use this? Do you have any ideas on like how this could possibly fit into your class? Like, what kinds of things could students unbox for them to show what they've learned in your class? What would go in that box, and what could they say about it? Like any of that stuff. I'll give you another twist on it just to give you another example. What if students didn't do an unboxing video about the content that they're learning in class, but they did an unboxing video about themselves instead? That could be a really cool back to school activity where they record a little video, or maybe they could put together a box and they could swap it with somebody else, and they could totally, Brittany's box has a hairbrush in it, and it's because of X, Y, and Z, and oh, it's got some micro bits in it because she's really into STEM, and like any of that stuff. That's yet another way that you could possibly use it. Yeah, Kelly is like right on the same wavelength with me on this one. She says about me introductions, a box. That's a good idea. Like, just sharing what strategies you use. If there are certain little things, if you've got fidgets, or if you've got like something that you think about, you put a picture of that. Any of that stuff could totally work. Good suggestion on that. If this sounds interesting to you, I'm going to put a link. It's actually on the screen right down here that you can see, but you go to ditchthattextbook.com/unboxing. If you go there, then you can find, I've got a whole blog post about how to make these. And it's also got a planning guide with a whole bunch of questions that students could ask themselves, or you could ask students to kind of walk them through the learning process on all of this. And of course, what's fun about this is that it does feel an awful lot like the kind of YouTube video that students end up watching a lot of times. Like, like what Sharon's saying here. She says, my 7-year-old unboxes Pokemon cards on video. He can make cards of the things he's learning about. Absolutely, yeah. And then that way it kind of feels like a Pokemon unboxing video, only it's about learning, right? I think that's a fantastic idea. That's great. Amy even said unboxing the parts of a computer for a computer science class. That's a brilliant idea too. This is fantastic. Unboxing the parts of a food truck for a foods class. Man, this is good stuff. You all are on it. Fantastic. So, and again, if you think about it, an unboxing video is just one kind of video that you find out on YouTube that you could repurpose for an activity in the classroom. There's tons of them. Okay, so real quickly, the planning of the unboxing. I forgot that this was on here. You can, if you're doing one of these, you think about the audience, who's watching the video, the recipient of the box, who's receiving the box, the sender of the box, who's sending it and why, the setting, where are you opening the box and at what time? In my case, it was I'm in my house right now, but you could change both of those variables. The box itself, what does the box look like? What kind of packaging is there? Is there a message on it? Remember with mine, it had a mailing label on it, and we kind of looked at that. The contents of the box, of course, what's in the box? Is there a note in the box? What's the significance? Like any of that stuff. And then this is the big question that I think we always want to pull these video activities back to. How does this show what I've learned? It's super easy for students to make these videos and to make them fun and flashy and everything, but they don't have any learning in them. And so I think that if I'm doing this, I'm putting this up on, I'm writing this on the board in great big letters and referring students back to it over and over and over again. Remember, as you do this activity, ask yourself, how does this show what I've learned? And if it doesn't, it's kind of like not totally fulfilling the reason that we're doing it, right? More brilliance in here from Amy on ideas. She says, what if we unbox the parts of a unit for students or parents? This could be kind of like, this is like the mystery box or the mystery bag. Like, this box has all of the contents of what we're going to learn next. Do you have any idea what it is? Like there's a little bit of mystery and intrigue, and you start pulling those things out. That could be a lot of fun. And then Amy even says, unboxing the lesson for your substitute. A substitute box. That's pretty clever. I never thought about that. That's a cool idea. And then the substitute gets to kind of like unbox the lesson for the students. Or the students get to unbox it while a substitute is there. Either way. Love it. Good stuff. And then there's what our planning guide looks like if you want to dig into the unboxing video. Let's go to this one. The top 10 video. This is yet another type of video that you see out on YouTube that's wildly popular. And there's all sorts of different versions of it. You may have seen a video, and if you've seen a video like this, let me know what kind you've seen. I'm curious to see if you've got some in the comments. But it might be like top 10 vacation destinations in the Southwest. Top 10 best pizza joints in New York City. Top 10 bucket list vacations in Europe. Top 10 weird ice cream flavors. Like any of that stuff. See, what I love about these videos is A, they're a lot of fun to make, but B, there is some deep learning that goes into them. Because if you make a top 10 list, or a top 5 list, or top 3 list, doesn't even have to be 10. But if you make one of these lists, you have to rank 1 through 10, all of the items that are on it, which means that one of them goes at the top and one of them goes at the bottom, and you have to justify all of that. When you start justifying your responses, you start climbing up Webb's depth of knowledge. So you're getting to higher and higher levels of critical thinking, right? You also sometimes have to make a criteria for the list. So what is our list based off of? Sometimes you have to justify why certain things didn't make the list. All of that stuff all gets into, some of the deeper thinking. If you want to get into this one as well, there's that link, which I'm going to put in the chat, ditchthattextbook.com/top-10-videos. So, feel free to go check out that link. It's a similar post to the unboxing video one that has some planning questions. It has some examples and all of that. Part of the reason that I love these top 10 videos is, it's retrieval practice, which means that students are recalling ideas out of their brain. If you saw my keynote yesterday, I talked a little bit about retrieval. It was the, when I was talking about music and how all of those song lyrics have stuck in our head over all of these years because we retrieved them from our brain whenever we sing along to them. Students are creating, students are curating, and it also teaches brevity too, because you can't be like super long-winded on these videos. Now, one of my favorite tools to make one of these top 10 videos is Flipgrid. And so what I wanted to do with you real quick was I wanted to go to Flipgrid, which, by the way, if you have not seen Flipgrid before, Flipgrid is this great video response tool. See, it's still stuck in Kelly's head. She says, hard to get Bon Jovi out of your head. Yep, you can blame me on that one. I got you singing along, I hope. Hopefully my singing wasn't too terribly atrocious, but I'm willing to look foolish to make you all smile or laugh or something. So I'm cool with that. But what I love about Flipgrid is that you create a topic or a question and you just share it out with your students. They just give you a link and your students click on the link. They go into your topic, they read your question, and then they hit record. And then they can record their response to it. And it could be something as simple as, a simple camera video like this one over here. You can add little things on top of your video, like this one has this little text box that you can add on top of it. There's filters, there's all sorts of fun stuff. Flipgrid is free, by the way. I'm curious to see if anybody is a Flipgrid user in the chat. But when you get into your teacher account, this is where you create a topic. A topic is kind of like where you ask a question. So I could click this create a topic button. I could write out what I want students to record in their videos. And then when I submit it, it gives me a link. And I just give that link to the students and then they can go record their responses. And of course, they can record real simple responses like answer this question. And when they answer that question, it could be something as simple as they just record head and shoulders directly to the camera. But I think whenever we come up with creative, innovative, different ways to record, these recordings that feel more like YouTube videos than just Mr. Miller made me answer this question. That's when things start getting really interesting. So what I wanted to share with you real fast was what it might look like when students start to record. Oh, this is a good idea. Yeah. Amy says, yeah, she's used Flipgrid before. She says, I use it to get to know the online students I teach with NCVPS. Cool. Very good. It really is a great way to get to know kids because, if you ask them to talk about themselves, or if they're recording at home, then they have lots of surroundings around them, lots of things around them that can kind of like illustrate that. So whenever students hit record, the screen looks kind of like this. And I wanted to show this to you just because all of the effects that you can use in a Flipgrid video are pretty cool. I mean, for instance, you can put a bunch of like colored filters over them if you want to. You can add text. So you add like little text boxes and stuff to it. You can ink, which means you can like draw on the screen if you want to. I'm going to undo that. You can add stickers, which are kind of like little emojis. And so you can like move and drag those around as soon as they show up on the screen. There it is. So all of this stuff you can put on the screen. And it starts to feel like I was saying earlier, you know, kids are all about TikTok, or at least a lot of them are thinking about TikTok. You know, being able to do something like this makes class start to feel a little bit like that. Just got this comment from Kimberly who says, I was just thinking about some of our students who don't have access to devices. For those students, you'd have to allow them to use school time and devices for the recordings. That's definitely something that you got to think about too. You know, for me, whenever I would do technology-rich activities, so often I wouldn't even send those as homework. I would have students work on them during class. And of course, you've got to allot time during class to do it. But that does start to bridge that gap a little bit. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Whenever students don't have, like, if they don't have cell phones or if they don't have the ability to use their cell phones to do those activities, it always makes me nervous whenever I send that stuff home, because there's lots of variables outside of my control on that. So I always like having students do those at home. Or sorry, I always like having those students do those in class. There we go. Okay, so those are some of the effects that you can use on Flipgrid, which is kind of cool. Now, to do the top 10 video, I wanted to show you one way that I kind of like being able to do this. If you go into the effects and you click on board, watch what happens. If I click on board, it gives me a bunch of different types of boards that can go up. And this is kind of like thinking of whiteboards. So you have like a real simple grid board you can put behind it. You can have, that's a design grid. You can make it like notebook paper. You can make it like a mathematical grid, or just a simple whiteboard, that kind of thing. But you notice how it split the screen like that? And here's the control on that. You see split screen. And I can take this little dot and I can move it over. And so now there's less and less and less of me, or I can make it more and more and more of me, or I can put it right back in the middle. Now, if I was doing an activity like that top 10 video, what I would do is I would put the board over here, and I would have my face over here on this side, and over on, whoop, wrong way, over on this side, I'm going to put some text, and this is going to be almost like slides. And I don't want to make it like a whole bunch of bullet point slides like you would do on PowerPoint, but having a little visual aid over here could be really good. Instead of just doing a simple, you know, like camera video. And so let's say my top 5, what's that line? Favorite books. Let's say I'm going to do a video about my top 5 favorite books. And I've even got a little emoji here. What I can do if I'm a student and I'm recording a video like this is I hit record, 3, 2, 1, and I say, I've read a lot of books and I love reading. I love all of the things that I get out of reading. It's a lot of fun. And of course, after having read for all of this time in my life, I've got some favorites. So in this video, I wanted to share with you my top 5 favorite books. And then I hit pause. Did you notice how down here I clicked pause and the red turned off? Here's the neat thing about Flipgrid is that whenever you hit pause, it just stops the video and you're able to move some things around and change it. So I could come over here and I could change the text to say number 5, and I could say whatever that book is. If I change that around, maybe even I take this emoji off and I put in the cover of the book. And then as soon as I've got that all set, I start to record again. This is my number 5 favorite book. And if I was actually recording this, here's where I would provide all of the details about why it's one of my favorites. Pause. And while it's paused, you can change the text and change the image again. And then you hit recording again. And you see how that works? You just like record a little bit, change some things around, and then you record a little bit and you change some things around. And now it's even more than just a simple video of you in your head, looking at the camera. It's actually something that has some visuals to it. So that could be kind of a fun way to make one of those top 10 videos. And again, the thought process that goes with all of it is a lot deeper than just, asking students a question and having them look right at the camera and responding to it. So Kelly says, I work with a lot of at-risk students and low poverty students, but recreating some of those videos in real life, even without the tech. Oh, I love that she mentioned this. This is great. I feel would work very well. Yes. I wanted to show you the Flipgrid version of it because it can be a lot of fun to record in video, but oh my goodness, Kelly, you bring up a fantastic point. Don't even need the video to do this, do you? You could have them do any of this stuff just in real life. You could have them partner up and do it. It could make for fun discussion prompts, like any of this stuff you could totally do without the technology too. So fantastic. Good stuff. Okay. A couple of other quick things as we wrap up. By the way, don't forget to fill out your survey for your sessions. So hopefully at some point you've gotten the link to the survey to be able to fill out. And then if you do that, of course, that registers you for some prizes. So, some of the prizes are some of my books, so you can get a free copy of the book. I was just saying earlier how there were some really great prizes yesterday. Like there were earbuds, there was like Chick-fil-A gift cards. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. So be sure that you fill out the survey to be able to get in on all of that. I'll show you a couple of real quick things here and then we'll wrap this up. So we talked about the unboxing videos and the top 10 videos as possible ways to, I still don't have that survey link, Amy. I went back through all of my emails and I still haven't been able to find it. I mentioned that in the last one too, but I've looked through all of my emails and I can't find it. So I'm not sure where it is. Okay. If somebody has the survey link, if you filled out the survey and you still have the survey link, would you drop it in the chat? And then that way I can kind of like distribute it to everybody. I'll be watching in the chat to see if anybody still has that survey link from last time. But I wanted to share with you just a couple of other quick YouTube inspired ideas. If you want to do some more of these activities, either with a tool like Flipgrid where students record the videos, or like how Kelly said, you could just do these in real life without any technology. There's product reviews. And so, this could be, like the elements on a periodic table. You could do product reviews for those. Mathematical concepts, historical innovations, plans of literary characters, like any of that stuff. Pros and cons, inserting opinion, and then conclude. So like any of that stuff. Oh my goodness. Sharon won the Chick-fil-A. I'm so jealous. I'm happy for you, but I'm very jealous too. Makeup tutorials. I tell you what, makeup tutorials are all over the place on YouTube. And really those are all about demonstrating a skill or a process. So sometimes you demonstrate it on camera. Sometimes you record it on, record your screen. This could work for PE classes, science labs, even coding and computer science. And it's all about describing things clearly. On the street interviews, like Jimmy Kimmel does these. This particular video is really funny. It was a blank map of the world and it just says, can you name a country? It's asking all of these adults, can you name one country on this? Can you name one country on this map? And a lot of them weren't able to do it. So yeah, anyway, you figure out who the interviewer is, you figure out who's going to be interviewed, the type of questions. You might even like ask students in school. You might ask family members, like any of that stuff. There's tour videos. And so you can use images to talk about different places around the world. I even talked in an earlier session about doing a virtual walking tour using Google Earth or Google Maps Street View, where you just record your screen while you looked at all of those. So lots of different possibilities. I've even got some tips from TikTok in here. If you want to check out the slides to that, you can come right back here to ditch.link/YouTuber and to be able to check the rest of that out. So, okay. So hopefully there was some fun stuff in there. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I had a blast hanging out with you and talking about this stuff. This is one of my favorite presentations to do. I think that it's a lot of fun. So hopefully you thought it was some fun. Hopefully you got some ideas from it too. So we got one more session coming up after this. This one's going to be at noon. So we got a little short break. I'm going to be doing a session about how to bloom using Google tools and some other technology stuff. We're going to be talking about Bloom's revised taxonomy, which is a nice lesson designing tool that you can use. We're going to take a look at it and see some practical uses out of that. So if you want to check that out, I'd love to see you again. Oh, good. This one resonated with Cami. Thanks so much. She's like, this is my favorite session so far. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So, and I loved having you guys here. So hopefully you had a good time. Hopefully you got some good ideas. Enjoy the rest of your day. Might see you in this next session. And if not, have a wonderful, wonderful summer. Okay. All right. Take care.